excavation site. It is taught in every school and university all over the world. And yet, ultimately, it has no foundation of fact or evidence to support it. It is a reasonable theory, but that's all it is, a reasonable theory. It seems to me that we've got to ask a lot more questions. We've got to be willing to be far more open. We've got to look at the facts, look at the anomalies that have been found, evaluate them, and if they tell us that Darwinism is unsupportable, then we've got to look for a new theory. One point I should make is that I'm not a professional scientist, I'm a science writer. But although I'm not a professional scientist, I have spent 20 years looking at the geology and the paleontology of Great Britain, and I've spent thousands of hours walking around the coast of Britain collecting fossils and mineral specimens. And one of the things that that experience has taught me is that you cannot find a succession of fossils which demonstrate evolution. This was the start of my journey, if you like. I wanted to know, why couldn't I go out there and find evidence for evolution? What was I missing? Where was it? One of the things that I found in looking around the cliffs of Britain, one mystery that I discovered was, why was it that you could find fossil sea urchins in the chalk which were regular fossils? They'd been petrified, turned to stone. But you could also find the same sea urchin which was filled with flint. Flint is supposed to be a hard material. How did it get inside? Well, the idea is that at some stage it must have been soft and jelly-like. But how do you square that with taking millions of years for those rocks and those fossils to form? Doesn't that suggest that somehow the flint fossil was formed relatively rapidly? It was questions like this that made me examine a lot more closely the evidence I'd been offered for Darwinism and just accepted. What I found was that there are too many unanswered questions of this sort, too many mysteries, too many anomalies that have been just pushed to one side in the hope that sometime they'll be answered. I've spent 20 years now looking at the geology and the paleontology of Britain. I've collected thousands of fossils. I haven't found the answers that I'm looking for.